Hello Blood Bowl fans. So, this isn't the game I'm going to be showing right now, but I did want to show the game that happened before, because there was only one game before this, and I'm not going to do a highlight reel for it. It was a fairly standard game. It wasn't overly boring. It was well played by my opponent, who was, what was his name, Crucifier, and How to Make a Smoothie. It's actually the second time I met this team, and the second time that he managed to beat me, I believe. He's a pretty good coach. He is very quiet, though, in the chat, unfortunately. I'm just going to cut because I don't want to show a spoiler, but I did want to show this before I showed the actual video itself. Alright, here we go for the main game. So this game I just played against a coach who was one of these coaches that you don't really want to meet because they're not very nice in chat, but he wasn't offensive, at least. He was just very salty. He did tell me that I needed to watch this back and learn from it, so I'm going to do that now. I would also highly recommend that the coach does the exact same thing, though I doubt that will happen, to be honest, judging by the way he reacted in the game. So my boys are singing the Monster Mash yet again, because the Monster Mash has become our national anthem. And the High Elves are singing Let's Not Fall and Die. And Ikit is going to do his best to get a very solid 4-0 score against me, which he assured me that every time I'm playing, that is the score that I should be losing by. So, let's watch him achieve it right now. Coin flip goes my way, and I choose to receive, as I always will against Elves, because I have a better chance of having numbers on the pitch after the first half. No, I'm going to try not to be too harsh to Ikit. I was trying to be nice to him during the game, though I did initially have a bit of a bash with him because he came out so salty, and I did return it a little bit. But that's the way it goes most of the time. Though his initial setup was actually pretty solid. He's made a nice arrow formation, he's locked off the flanks to make sure that I can't get through. It's pretty good, and he has some players in reserve ready for when I most likely do give up the ball. One thing I forgot to mention, Leica is out for this match. He received the Nurgle last match, and I replaced him temporarily with a Ghoul. If the Ghoul plays well, I may keep him in the team. I may keep him in the team anyway, I don't know. I get a high kick, which is a good start for me, of course, and Mr. Ghoul moves right into the end zone, my end zone, to pick up and receive a kick, which he does. I did change the setup for maximum damage here, and I am going to try and do a little bit. Maybe even get a foul in straight away as well. We are at my place, so we both have a free bribe this match, though we are both at 1000 TV, so no inducements at all. There's the first armor break. It's just a stun, but that's fine. And Monster managed to level up last game. He now has Mighty Blow, and he uses that to good effect here, causing a stun. In fact, he didn't need the Mighty Blow. I do lock off his flanks to make sure that he can't get to the ball at least this turn. And so far in chat he has said nothing. He didn't say anything until he started being a bit salty. I did wish him good luck, as always, though. That's my first skull, but it's on a block piece. Not my first skull, my first double down, but it's on a block piece, so it's not a big deal. And I've positioned myself pretty solidly in order to make a solid foul there, which leads to the first injury. He has no apothecary, so that piece is definitely gone. He's down to 10 elves. And there's my bribe gone already. But at least it was successful. 11 against 10. His return was a heavy focus on putting down my white, which is quite right. Though he did put most of his team on this one side, which makes it pretty straightforward for me to get this side. I forgot that happened. Yeah, he didn't actually try to hit the white, he tried to get the ball, which involved 3 rolls. I want to make that clear because later that's going to become important. He just succeeded 3 rolls to get to my ball carrier. And he only just missed the POW. So, second round of blocking. First block with a block piece is a push, not such a big deal. I've got plenty of pieces to do that, and that frees up a zombie to go and help and create an assist for my ghoul to get out of the spot. I blitz out. I preferred that to the dodge, and it was successful with a POW, but I didn't really need a POW. A push would have been good enough. And ghoul goes into a safer position where I can make a kind of half cage. Well, not a half cage's on the edge, but not exactly a cage. I get the piece off the edge of the cage to make sure that the elves aren't likely to get in here, at least without great risk, next turn. Following that successful roll, that was a bit risky, not gonna lie, but it worked. I've cleared up the cage so no one's getting near that ball. Taking one last block, and I didn't get a good block with the white, so I tried to dodge him out, which fails. Didn't reroll though, didn't feel the need, wasn't a necessary move, but it does mean he's not going to get punched next turn. So key to standing up his pieces. And he's finally bringing the team back to this side, after I've already spread him out. He does hold the middle as well, which is quite clever actually, I'll give him that. Though he does attempt to dodge into the cage, which he really doesn't need to do, and it results in an elf going down, of course, and a wasted reroll. I don't think that was necessary, especially with the 2 pieces in reserve. I mean, I can't get round because I've got these two pieces to stop me, so basically he just saved me knocking down an elf. I move the ghoul into a safer position, and I am going to try and foul that piece on the floor to get rid of it. I decided that was the best way, but also keeping the cage. At best, he's going to get a half die on the ghoul, which isn't such a big deal. Blocking the piece out first, thrower. Which leads to a KO, which is good news for me. Sorry, skip that. And lock off this catcher, as he's the one scoring threat that I have at the moment that I need to stop. I'm trying desperately to stop the elves from scoring, because every game I've had against elves so far, of course, have been score fests from the elf side. And here comes the second foul, no bribe this time. And it fails, but luckily my piece doesn't go off. I had 2 options here. I could have left the ghoul in the cage, which was the one option, or I could have locked off these 2 pieces, which I decided was the better option, and it's also kind of still protecting this area. I also got 2 dice on that elf, which I can put down, and luckily I get a stun. Now, any piece he wants on the ghoul, he has to dodge through at least 2 tackle zones. And I take the 1 die just because I can. It's not really going to affect it negatively or positively if that succeeds or fails. He does try and dodge through, which he fails, and rerolls, which is successful. That gives him a 1 die on the ghoul, I believe, especially when he picks up these 2 pieces. After he picks up these 2 pieces, it's a 1 die. It's 2 die, okay, even better. So ghoul is down, ball is down. Scatters, fine, I don't mind that scatter. It would have been worse if it went into an open space where the catcher could have got to it. He does move the catcher into a scoring position and tries to dodge out a piece, dodge in a piece to pick up the ball, which is a 3+3+. Not the worst idea, but without a reroll, that is more risky than it needs to be, really. He would have been better off securing the area instead of having a piece down. I lock up the catcher or 1 zombie just in case. If he does decide to pass, I can at least get an inception potentially. Though my main goal is to knock down these 3 pieces, or at least knock them out of the cage and take the ball round here. I make sure that I get this piece well out of the way as well by pushing onto it. White can come in for a blitz, which is 2 down, but with block that's fine. And the blocking fairly standard, however successful. Doesn't leave me many options for the ball. I was aware of that, but at the end of the day, having the ball was better than not having the ball, so I was quite happy with that result overall. Ghoul just gets a... not Ghoul. Monster just gets a push, which actually frees up the block piece, and Ghoul picks up the ball. Trying to get one more piece down, the piece that's actually standing on the Ghoul, because I would have had to GFI, and I do manage to get a stun, which is good enough. That means the Ghoul is safe this turn. Could have left the zombie there and potentially surfed, but it's better off making sure that it's difficult for him to get to the ball. Gives him a free block. I'm well aware, but I prefer him to have a block here than a block here. Yeah, that's again a lot of dice, and it does lead to a POW, so that's good for him. And it even stuns Ghoul, that's very good for him. And unfortunately he doesn't manage to keep hold of the ball, and the ball goes to a zombie. That's good news. I like having zombie carriers. And he moves the catcher into a safer position, which is fair enough, but I'm not going to worry too much about this piece. I am going to focus on getting the zombie out here as safely as possible. So first move is getting him off the zombie, which I do with the white, because it's the safest block. Second safest block is block piece here with zombie with block. That's a double skull, but a reroll into a push, which isn't ideal, but it will have to do for now. That frees up the ball carrier, and it also means that I can lock off this piece. Not this piece though, unfortunately. Blitz the last piece with monster. Managed to put him down, thankfully, which lets the ball carrier and one support piece get out. Not ideal, not at all. However, it's something. Now, I'm just going to pause it here because this is where the salty bit started. Now, I made a decision here and I'm going to explain it before I move on. At the moment, there are 4 pieces that can quite easily get to this space where I'm going to put the ball carrier. I'm aware of this. Now, I do decide to do a handoff here from my piece that is standing here to the piece that is standing here, because if my piece is standing here, there are 2 pieces that can get on completely unmolested, and there are 2 pieces that potentially, 3 pieces, sorry, that can potentially get on with 1 dodge. So that's a 3 die, potentially even, though it is a very easy 2 die. By doing the handoff, if it's successful, it means that the ball goes into this place, and the best he's going to get is 1 piece unmolested onto my zombie. And the worst case scenario is that it scatters here, 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 or back onto the piece that already had the ball. So either way, it's harder for him to get to the ball. This is exactly why I made this decision. It's the first big risk I think I've taken this game. And it's successful. Now from this point forward, Ikit was complaining the whole way about how unlucky he was, but to be honest, so far I think the game has been pretty even. He's had a little bit of bad luck, but he's also taken some very unnecessary risks. And he does get the 1 piece nice and easily onto the zombie, though the second piece he's going to have to dodge through, or just leave in support. And here comes the dodge, which he fails. No rerolls left, that's the end of his turn. Did I do something wrong? I don't really think so. In fact, I still have the ball. I think I made the best decision I could have made. Maybe if it was unsuccessful, it would have been a different result, but at the end of the day, it was successful, and I have the ball in a very secure place. I'm likely to score from this. I take a block on this piece so I can get 1 zombie up in support, or 2 zombies up in support. Should have moved this zombie first, though I think he has to GFI to get anywhere, so actually I can't move him. So I do move this 1 zombie into a position where I can not only get support, but I can surf this piece off the pitch. Second zombie's going to come into support here. Oh no, he's going to lock off. That's better. Don't have to roll to lock off the area. So if something goes wrong, the ball isn't going far. And I do get my surf. The ball stays in a safe place, and so long as I can put the last elf down, it's very difficult for him to get the ball there. Even if I don't put the last elf down, the elf has to dodge out of and into tackle zones, but I will take the block. It's successful, and it even leads to a stun, which is very good. That's ball completely secured. It's going to be very difficult for him to stop me from scoring now. Was I lucky? Or was that good play? You tell me. The blitz is the one edge of the block, though it's not going to help him much. I have way too many pieces that are free here. I can just make a half cage on the edge until turn 8 and end the half safely 1-0. This piece is a little bit scary, but I do have some pieces to lock up as many of these as I can, and this piece is already locked up. So let's make the half cage first. Using a ghoul, which is not ideal, but it's the piece that could get the furthest, so that's why I used him as the one pillar. That puts the ball relatively safely on the edge, and it also means that I can lock up this piece and this piece with my remaining zombies. And I can bring a zombie in support for the white to get a block in. Because the more elves that are down here, the harder it is for him to get the ball. Also, of course, I'm always looking to kill a piece when I play this team. That's a knockout, which is good news. That's 3 pieces down now. He's down to 8 as a result. Monster also gets a stun, which is great, and I've completely locked off this piece. That piece is going nowhere. He takes his only option, which is incredibly risky. He tries to dodge in to the half cage to surf my piece. I probably would have done the same, but I wouldn't have made the decision as quickly as he did. And I just want to say as well, that was much more risky than the little handoff I did. Nikit. Zombie goes in for the touchdown. I don't know, I think personally I played that quite well. I don't think, even looking back at it, I don't think I made any really obvious errors, or that I had any particularly strong luck. The dice went in my favour a little bit, but it was all pretty safe dicing, so not too worried. The only things that he failed as well were risks that were, well, risks. He burned the rerolls too early doing risky things. I lock up the line, not because I'm expecting to punch back, of course it is his turn 8, just because I want him to not be able to punch easily. So I lock up the line with as many pieces as I can. He also locks up the line, meaning that he can do as many punches as possible on his last turn, trying to get a little bit of damage at the end. Fair enough. I could have just sacrificed 3 pieces. When I look back at it, this was a mistake. I should have just sacrificed 3 pieces. That's a throw a rock, which is very unfortunate for him. That I will give him. That was unfortunate. And he only gets a stun from it at least, so it's not so bad. That piece will be right back. Oh, I also forgot to mention that his 2 KOs didn't come back, which was a shame for him. I actually skipped over it. Sorry about that, I think. So sorry about that. He takes a 1 die, which leads to a push. The 1 die with a block piece, not so bad, okay. But the 2 die would have been safer first. And that's a stun. He obviously wants an injury or something, which is fair enough, though he doesn't get one, unfortunately for him. And 1 more block. It's a good one again. It's a very good one. But again, just a stun. He is going to go for the Vantipass, which is fair enough. and it's pretty likely 83 to 83. Though, unfortunately, he fails it. That's unlucky as well. I'll give him that too. It's a pretty straightforward move. It's a shame it didn't come off. Half time. We have one injury on the high elf team, and 2 KOs which do not come back. He's coming back with 8 pieces. That's a shame. So this time I'm kicking, of course, into the elf territory. I load the line again, the exact same setup actually. This time I don't think it's such a bad idea because elves aren't likely to stay in a punch-up with zombies. It's not a good matchup for them really. Riot means that we only have 7 turns in the second half. That gives them 7 turns to get the ball back into my touchdown area. It's taking a block, which is just a push on my block piece, which leaves this blitzer in a quite dangerous position, and he tries to dodge through as the first move. Yeah, okay, I can see that, though to be honest, that doesn't really help him. And he fails the pickup, which is unfortunate. That means that I can set up in a way that is difficult for him to recover from his positioning. He probably could have moved this piece somewhere, though. Or did he already move it? No, he'd already moved it. Never mind. Now take a blitz on this catcher to make sure that it's going to be hard for him to score. And 2 down is good enough. I've been getting a lot of 2 downs with Frankenstein. And a stun is perfect. That's very good. And the ghoul, who I called Igor by the way, I forgot to mention that, is on the edge, blocking off this flank. And that secures this flank again. And I put the guard piece next to the block piece, so these 2 are hard to block against. I'm getting a bit better at positioning my zombies now. I'm having a look at it before I play. And I'm not going to take this block, it's an unnecessary risk and it would leave a hole. Hey, there's a pass there. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all, actually. He could have left the ball there, it would have been a lot safer. It also means he wouldn't have had to re-roll the skulls, because he wouldn't have needed to take that block so desperately, and he would have had a re-roll for that dodge. Unfortunately, that's the catcher KO'd, and the ball is easy to pick up from there. I'm going to put that down to frustration as opposed to bad play, because he was very frustrated at this point in the game, and I really don't think that play was necessary. The ball was much safer there than it was here. I do lock off the few pieces that are around the ball. I'm not too worried about picking up the ball and moving it this turn, though I would like to have the ball in my possession if possible. Most importantly though, I want to make sure that all of these pieces are based as much as possible, and keeping these 2 on the far end of the pitch. Yeah, put the catcher down, securing the ball even further for me, and I can now knock down the blitzer, I guess. Yeah, I do aim for the blitzer, the obvious choice. And that's a stun, which is very good news. He is pretty unlucky with the armor breaks this game, that I can happily accept. And Frankenstein does manage to pick up the ball safely, and he's in a very secure position because of those successful blocks. I managed to knock out another elf. Yeah, that's a lot of armor breaks. Didn't deserve that really. And monster can move into a position to lock off the catcher as well. He's down to 6 pieces. He's down to 6 pieces here, and he's taking an unnecessary foul. He does have the bribe though. He had to GFI to get there, which he fails. Yeah, a lot of this play is down to frustration now. I think until this point, I think the game was still relatively fine, relatively normal, and I don't even think he was playing particularly badly. He was a little bit unlucky, but I don't think he was overly unlucky. He was taking way too many risks though. I put down the last elf, which lets Frankenstein just run right out the way. I'm just going to screen off here so the elves can't get through simply. I already know that this guy is incredibly frustrated, so I know that he's prone to do very silly things here. It's normally me doing the silly things. Yeah, Frankenstein runs through, and I'm just going to finish off screening the area and locking up these pieces as best I possibly can, so they're not going anywhere. Yeah, take the blitz from the ghoul to get him off the edge, and also put this piece down, the only piece that's free. And I move Ghoul into a position where he can help with the screening. I'm going to keep calling him Ghoul even though his name is Igor. But of course, he's actually not called Ghoul. And that's a fairly solid defense. Even an elf is going to struggle to get through that. Though he does try. No, he doesn't try. He blocks a completely unnecessary piece. Okay. Why not? And he's going to try and foul it. Successful this time. Alright, he gets to use his bribe. He took my block piece. Specifically, he was aiming to foul the pieces that were of as much worth as possible, I guess. Though... And he tries to dodge through the screen, which leads to an injury. Ouch. Okay, bye-bye catcher. Well, he made my job easy, to be honest, by doing that. I was expecting to see some sense in that, but I don't think there is much. Yeah, he made my job way too easy there. I just move my pieces to completely lock up these last 3, and Frankenstein is on the edge. He's going to stay there until the end of the game, as long as possible. No piece can get to him at the moment, so I can stall for now. Making sure the elves don't have even the smallest chance of scoring again. I do keep the screen as well, because I've noticed that at the moment he is mostly trying to dodge through. So I'm gonna let him keep trying that. That roll was a push. The 3 die, and that's the only block I'm going to take, but I'm going to move the ghoul into a safer position. Looking back at that, I could have left the ghoul here actually, because it means that this piece is free to actually run around here. Yeah, I could have done that better, to be honest. Well, Ikit, I learned. Thanks. Yeah, the piece that he did have as a scoring threat, I guess, is coming back, because there's nowhere for him to go. He dodges out to take a foul again on the same piece. And he got a KO this time. Ref still hasn't seen him, so he's doing okay. He still has his bribe left, so we can get another one in if he wants to. He actually saves me by basing the zombie. That was good of him. Though again, this is a zombie that's leveled up. I'm pretty sure his mission at the moment is to kill these 2 pieces. Though that's made it pretty easy for me to lock them off on this side, where he could have actually gone round and forced me to reposition completely. And the rest, I guess, are going to lock up these 3 that are down here, making sure that nothing gets anywhere near Frankenstein, at least until turn 16. When I look back at this game, actually, I wish I'd fouled him a lot more. I could have done, but especially with the numbers I have now, that, well, I didn't, so never mind. And that's a good block from Monster, who pushes these 3 into a position where there's no way they're getting anywhere near the ball. Yeah, moved Ghoul again. Wasn't necessary, actually. Could have left Ghoul there. It would have made it harder to get to me. Took a 1 die on a zombie, which was successful as his first move. Takes a half die on monster as his second move, which is also successful. And then dodges into a threatening position. And dodges again into a threatening position. Now, Akid, you failed everything all game, I know. And he even manages a one person foul on a zombie on the floor for no reason. And gets away with it. Very nice. That was a fun turn, actually. Well done. That's the first entertainment we've had from the High Elves. I like it. I was debating whether to stall or not on this turn. Pretty sure he wasn't scoring back, though he maybe could have done when I think about it. Whoops. I've given him a chance to score back anyway. Oh no, I have a reroll. Okay. Right. Can these pieces score? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they can't. Okay, so he wasn't scoring anyway. And that's 2 down on monster, which puts both our pieces down, of course. Which gives him a chance to at least stop the game at 1-0. So he dodges out and takes a 1 die with a blitzer at least, so not a big deal. Just gets a push, unfortunate. Puts Frankenstein at the edge. He tries to dodge out catcher. Yeah, didn't really need to do that, I guess, but well, it would have made it very difficult for Frankenstein to get out. Okay, I can see that move, but it wasn't really necessary. Blitz out with Frankenstein. Successful block. Push would have been good enough though. And run it in. 2-0 for the pet collection. Now, I am always willing to learn. I didn't really see much looking at this game that I did particularly badly, though if you did see things and you can let me know if the Akid actually had a point, or if you think that the High Elves were particularly unlucky, then by all means tell me. I'll listen and I'll take your criticism into account. Anyway, 2-0 for the pet collection. 2 touchdown, 18 armor breaks, which is a lot. I accept that the armor breaks were unfortunate on his side, but that's the way the game goes. I mean, can't blame you for that. He did manage 1 pass, that really unnecessary pass that led to me getting the ball actually, and he only got 4 armor breaks, which was unlucky, but he didn't really roll a lot of dice in terms of blocking, so I don't know. Statistics-wise, 75% ball possession. Again, though, I think that was more through play than through luck, but tell me if I'm wrong. And he had 0 ball possession, which is impossible. That's not true, but he didn't have a lot of ball possession. That is true. It was almost all in the elf half as well. 44 successful blocks, 19 successful blocks, 3 KOs inflicted against 1, 2 injuries, which are not here for some reason. That's interesting. Okay. But they are here. That's very strange. Okay, that leads me to believe that these statistics cannot be trusted at all. So there's that. There are 2 pieces that are injured, but they're not here. So is all this true? I guess not. May stop looking at that page. SPP. The 2 MVPs, of course, got 5 each. That's, I'm pretty sure, a lineman and a zombie, but I'll have a look in a second. Frankenstein and Leo the zombie got 3 each from the touchdowns, and 1 from that unnecessary pass. Yeah, lineman and zombie. I did get 2 level ups from this match. Let's have a look at the statistics before we get there though. So I'm now 4, 1 and 5 with this team, which I think is pretty good. Some games I've played badly, not gonna lie. There are a couple of games that I've lost more heavily than I should have done, and there are 2 games where I could have won. I could have won this game actually, and I could have won better in one of the wins. And I did actually get 2 level ups from this game, so let's have a look. Let's start with the zombie. He rolls. Standard. Not sure what I'm giving him actually. Let's just consult the Oracle. guess I'm going to give him block again. Block is probably the safest bet. Some more free. Yeah, I'm going to give him block again, I think. Or wrestle. Have him as a ball. Saka. No, I'll give him block for now. Making that line of scrimmage as safe as possible. Dirty player, of course, is also an option, but I prefer to win if I can, actually, as well as get the pieces, as opposed to just get the pieces. And Frankenstein gets a normal as well. That's Mighty Blow. Yeah, that's Mighty Blow. At the end of the day, I want to kill as many pieces as possible, so having 2 Mighty Blow pieces is very, very helpful. Well, thanks for watching. Like I say, let me know if you think I could have played that better. I'm quite happy with that result though, and I think I played it fairly well. So that's what I take from the game. But you can tell me where I went wrong if you think I went wrong. We'll see what happens with the next one. I happen to have time today, so I've decided to record and post this, whereas normally, as you know, I do highlights. But this game's going up, so hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Hello Blood Bowl fans. So, this isn't the game I'm going to be showing right now, but I did want to show the game that happened before, because there was only one game before this, and I'm not going to do a highlight reel for it. It was a fairly standard game. It wasn't overly boring. It was well played by my opponent, who was, what was his name, Crucifier, and How to Make a Smoothie. It's actually the second time I met this team, and the second time that he managed to beat me, I believe. He's a pretty good coach. He is very quiet, though, in the chat, unfortunately. I'm just going to cut because I don't want to show a spoiler, but I did want to show this before I showed the actual video itself. Alright, here we go for the main game.